How's it going, everyone? The PlayStation Store is continuing to run its holiday sale. The Wave 2 deals have come in. As I mentioned before, some of the deals have persisted through into the second wave of deals, but a lot of them have cycled out. We're going to be looking at deals under the price of $5. Did a double check on our previous video looking at games under $5. It seems like all of them have expired except for one. That one being Transistor, which I'll give another mention to. It is 80% off for $3.99. It's one of the Supergiant games that gets a little bit lost in the shuffle. Really, the middle Supergiant games are the ones that get lost in the shuffle, Transistor and Pyre. But Transistor's a really cool sci-fi themed action RPG. Kind of hard to describe it, but it's got a really cool look to it. I mean, every Supergiant games title has a really cool look to it. Interesting battle style, interesting story as well. Really good soundtrack, and again, the presentation is pretty solid. But yeah, $4 for that is quite good, so I wanted to give that another mention. Now, let's move on to some of the new deals, and a lot of good stuff, and let's start off with what I consider to be one of the best deals across the entirety of the sale. .hack GU Last Recode, 90% off for $4.99. Now, I know some of you guys aren't into JRPGs, my constant mentioning of them, but this is such a good value deal, man. .hack GU Last Recode includes all three of the .hack GU games. Along with that, you get a fourth smaller episode. Now, these are PS2 era JRPGs. They did what they could to upgrade them, but you know, their age still does kind of show. Stiff animations, voice acting isn't the best in some regards, although I think the main character does a great job, and the person that voice acted the main character, Haseo, also voice acted Sasuke in Naruto, so interesting connection there, and a lot of their personalities are very alike, especially early on in GU when you compare them to Sasuke. Nonetheless, really good game from a gameplay standpoint. It's got some quality action gameplay. A lot of the dungeons are a little bit redundant, but a lot of content here, great soundtrack, and a very compelling story. I think for $4.99, given the value you get out of here, I would say it's well worth a pickup. Definitely give it a look. It does, in fact, have a demo available as well if you want to check that out. Next up, we got Metro 2033 Redux. Now, you can get this standalone for $3, which I think is a pretty good deal, all things considered. It is also available in the PlayStation Plus Premium category. I know a lot of you guys aren't keen on signing up for that, but it is discounted right now if you do want to check it out. Nonetheless, Metro 2033 is a fantastic game, and it kicks off the Metro franchise, an incredibly atmospheric and engrossing first-person shooter with an excellent narrative as well. It is obviously single-player only, but Metro 2033 is a solid pickup for sure. If you don't want to pick up the collection, if you don't want to jump right into Exodus, 2033 is the way to go, and for $3, I think it's quite a good pickup. Next up, we got Shadow Tactics, the game and the theme, 90% off for $4.99. The theme is probably not going to be relevant to a lot of you guys, given that if you're on PlayStation 5, that's not a thing. I know a lot of clamoring on social media right now for dynamic themes to make a return, and why not? I mean, that's an easy way for Sony to make money. Nonetheless, Shadow Tactics is a tactics title, of course, as the title would suggest. It's probably a game that's better suited for PC, but it honestly makes a pretty smooth transition utilizing controller scheme as well. I played it on PC initially, but I played it with a controller as well, and I had a great time with it. I'm not a big tactics guy, but this game's setting I thought was fantastic. The visual style, the aesthetic, sound direction, those elements are really good, and it's very accessible from a tactical gameplay standpoint. Like, this isn't a game that is going to... It's not going to be that punishing to you. At least I don't think, and I think even if you are a newcomer to the genre, you're gonna be able to get into it fairly easily. Interesting cast of characters, solid setting. Again, if you like this Edo period setting, that is gonna be something that I think hooks you into the game, even if you're not a big fan of the gameplay style. Again, if you're just not super into tactics games. They also have a lot of variety in the different maps you play on, so that was quite nice. And for $5, I think this is a great pickup, and if you can utilize that theme on your PS4, hey, more power to you. Next up, we got Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition, 90% off for $3.99. Tuck away the kids, tuck away anyone that may not be suited to listen to a lot of profanity, because Bulletstorm absolutely has that. It is an over-the-top, fast-paced, first-person action shooter. It's got some pretty over-the-top gameplay, like maybe not Vanquish over-the-top, but pretty darn close. Bulletstorm is a ton of fun, though. It's a shorter game, and I think that was one of the issues of the game when it initially came out for $60. It was a game that you could complete rather quickly. I believe when it came out and I played it initially on the 360. I beat it in like 6 or 7 hours. Like, it's not a lengthy game at all, but now you're paying $4 for it, so it becomes a much more palatable pickup. I believe initially with Bulletstorm, they gave the Gears 2 or it would have been Gears 3 by that point, right? Gears 3 beta with it, so a lot of people picked it up with that in mind. Nonetheless, Bulletstorm is a very, very enjoyable game. Again, just over the top with the profanity. I guess that's kind of the gimmick and the charm to the game. It does grow a little bit tiresome after a while, but I don't know. That's a very, very minor complaint. The gameplay is excellent. Again, over the top is all hell, and $4 for it I think is a really good pickup, so check it out. Next up, we got Dragon Age Inquisition Deluxe Edition. This is a great pickup. I mean, Dragon Age Inquisition was one of those games that early on in the PlayStation 4 era, it was a fantastic RPG. Now kind of got outpaced by The Witcher 3 that came out like 5 or 6 months right after it and kind of took the throne for the best RPG at that time, but Dragon Age was a solid game, and at this point, you know, BioWare doesn't have that great of a track record with their titles, but Dragon Age Inquisition, I think, was the game that a lot of people saw as BioWare's last truly great game. A compelling narrative, a lot of content. Visually, it still holds up well. Like, don't keep in mind, this game came out back in 2014, so we're talking 8 years ago. But it still looks fairly good. The environments look solid, and I just think it's a good time all around. Deluxe Edition obviously includes some additional content. $5 for the amount of content you're getting in total as well. Good pickup all around. Next up, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the Game Complete Edition. 67% off for $4.94. I'm not a big Scott Pilgrim guy. However, this is just a very, very enjoyable beat-em-up with a very throwback art style. You've got some comedic elements to it as well, but a very, very charming game, if nothing else. If you like arcade style beat-em-ups, you're gonna like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. And again, I'm not a big Scott Pilgrim guy, but yeah, this is a fun time all around at $4.94. A steep discount for this if you're looking for a beat-em-up, if you want to play it cooperatively, that is an option as well. So check it out, $4.94, goodbye there. Next up, Batman Return to Arkham, 75% off for $4.99. I mean, this is a no-brainer. Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, two of the best superhero video games of all time. And remember, when Arkham Asylum came out, superhero games kind of had a bad track record. Like, this kind of, you know, changed that narrative a lot and kind of opened the door for a lot of other superhero games to come out. I want to say that, like, Transformers War for Cybertron came out right before it. It was licensed games in general, and War for Cybertron ended up being really good as well. So maybe give some credit to that game as well. But Arkham Asylum turned out to be a fantastic game. It was more of a not open world experience like Arkham City and Arkham Knight is, but it's still a very, very good game, and a lot of variety in its gameplay, and it holds up really well more than anything. Like, you're talking 2009, 13, 14 years ago, and it still is a solid playthrough. I played through Arkham Asylum, I want to say like a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I still had a fantastic time with it, so from that end, it's great. And Arkham City is my favorite of the 3 Arkham games. That game was just fantastic. Opened up the world, of course, and had more content, but a great time with those 2 games, and for $5 to get both of them is just a no-brainer, so definitely go ahead and pick those up. They are both playable through PlayStation Plus Premium, I believe, so you can check it out that way as well. Next up, we got Yakuza 0, 80% off for $3.99. Obviously, the gateway into Yakuza. If you want to get into the franchise, this is where you start, a prequel to Yakuza 1. Over the top as all hell with Yakuza as well. It's a bit comedic at times, but at the same time, when it needs to be mature and it needs to be emotional, it can absolutely do that. The fights in this game are absolutely insane at times, and the soundtrack just adds to the overall chaotic nature of the game. It's just a wild time, and the gameplay is good, like the combat is good, and then they also have side content that varies up and adds a little bit of spice to the gameplay. If it does become a little bit redundant, it does a good job of keeping the whole experience fresh and entertaining the whole way through. And yeah, if you rush through the main story, you can beat it, you know, somewhat quickly, but if you want 100% Yakuza 0, that's going to take you quite a while. So I usually recommend you to play the Yakuza games maybe 1 or 2 at a time, take a break from them, and then continue the saga, because, yeah, like, if you gotta be absolutely insane to go through every single Yakuza game straight. Like, I'm sure people have done it, but Yakuza 0 to Yakuza 6, or even Like a Dragon, like, to go through all those games, one after the other, that's, like, insane to me, but I don't know, your prerogative if you do want to do that. Again, available through Plus Extra, but $4 for that is great, especially with all the content content you're getting. Next up, Rayman Legends, 75% off for $4.99. Look, if you're a fan of platformers, this is a game that I have sung the praises of it to death. It is fantastic. From an art style standpoint, it's excellent, and it's really accessible to anyone of any ages. It's a well-designed platformer, and it pains me that Ubisoft doesn't do more with Rayman as an IP. I feel like Rayman could end up being one of the mascot IPs for Ubisoft, and I get they do the Mario Rabbids thing, but man, I just think there's so much more potential with Rayman as this, you know, classic platforming franchise. Like, think they could do more with it, and we saw with Rayman Origins, we saw with Rayman Legends that there's a lot of potential here. I guess they don't do gangbuster numbers commercially, but if you're remotely a fan of platformers, give this game a look. You're gonna have a lot of fun with it, and it's got a lot of levels to it as well. $5, no-brainer there, available through Plus Extra as well. Next up, Little Nightmares, 75% off for $4.99. Again, another atmospheric platformer, definitely of a different sort than Rayman. Let's not get it twisted there. A puzzle platformer with horror elements as well. Incredibly engrossing. They did a really good job with this game. I believe it was Tarsier Studios. They obviously did Little Nightmares 2 as well, which built upon Little Nightmares 1 as well. And I would say it's the better game, but a little bit more expensive. I think it's on sale for like $9.89. Nonetheless, Little Nightmares 1 is a great starting point. It was a PlayStation Plus Essential title recently, so for a lot of you guys, it's already in your library. Also available through Plus Extra. If you don't have it, $5 is a pretty solid pickup for that. Next up, Salt and Sanctuary, 80% off for $3.59. I think is a great deal for Salt and Sanctuary. Again, it's very much compared to the Souls-like style of gameplay, but it is a 2D action game. It's not, you know, obviously, based on looking at it, it's not your typical Souls of game, but it's still got that same gimmick of action gameplay, challenging, die over and over again, repeat, and, you know, for a lot of people, they're gonna find it incredibly compelling and incredibly engaging. I like the platforming aspects of the game and love the visual look of the game. Obviously, it's not like a big budget game or anything like that, but the aesthetic presentation I thought was great. $3.59 I think is an excellent pickup. There was a follow-up game that dropped for this, Salt and Sacrifice, so you can pick that up if you want as well, but why not start with this? $3.59 I think is great. Next up, Darkest Dungeon, $2.49 for this is fantastic. This has to be the cheapest price this has been for. It's a 90% off discount, an action roguelike turn-based RPG, very much a darker in presentation, but one that was really well received. I didn't play it as much as some people, but some of the mechanics and elements of it weren't as engaging to me, but if you're a fan of more challenging dark fantasy style games, Darkest Dungeon for $2.49, that's just a ridiculous price point. Now, there is other content to the game, and you can pick up the Ancestral Edition. That's 90% off for $4 as well, so yeah, that's like pretty darn good. There's the Crimson Court, that's at $9.99, Shieldbreaker $4, and then the Color of Madness at $5 as well. But base game $2.49 seems like a fantastic pickup to me. And lastly, I want to give a mention to the EA Family Bundle, just because I find this very humorous. So the EA Family Bundle includes Need for Speed, Plants vs. Zombies, Garden Warfare 2, and Unravel. All of that for $4, which is a great deal, right? They also got Need for Speed standalone on sale for $5, so figure that one out. Nonetheless, it's Need for Speed 2015, which was kind of a meme, but to get all three of those for $4, like Unravel, I think, is a really charming game that definitely has its issues for sure, but a pretty unique game to go into, and everybody seems to love Yarny, so, you know, check it out. $4 for that bundle seems pretty decent to me, especially. I had to give it a shout given that the base Need for Speed game is $5. Nonetheless, that is going to do it for me. Again, a lot of great deals available right now during this sale. You know, if you don't pick anything up, I know it's the holiday sale, and this is definitely the biggest sale that we're probably going to see in a while, but, you know, before you know, we're going to have some sort of, like, spring sale. We're going to have your games under $15 sale, under $20 sale. You guys know how it works. The sales run every week, so don't be too pressured to pick anything up. But if you got some spare bucks lying around, these are some good options, I think. That's gonna do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.